Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? This is Easy Drawings, and today we're going to go over how to draw Goku from Dragon Ball Z. This is going to be kind of a headshot again, very similar. I'm going to just color him very lightly, nothing crazy, because normally their coloring is done with digital, kind of digital. So I'm not going to try to really replicate that. So let's kind of get into it. I'm going to do the. Oh, by the way, I want to tell you how this video is going to be broken up. It's going to be broken up into undersketch, drawing, inking, and then color. So look to your left if you want to select any of those levels at any point, and that's pretty much it. Let's kind of get into it. I'm going to be using a regular pencil. This one is a Premier Black PC 935. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to use it for the undersketch, so it's not a big deal. So let's kind of get into this head circle and I'm going to draw very messily. This is the undersketch. Start with a circle. Shape of the head, he's got kind of like a V shape for, right there, drawing the chin on there. His ear to be positioned over here. I'm just trying to get the general proportions with this undersketch. His eyes are very large because they're anime eyes. Nose, mouth, and again what I'm doing is I'm just trying to get general proportions. His spikes are extremely large, and they're really just kind of triangular. They're very deceptive because I think they look easier to draw than they are. They remind me of spikes on a dragon, kind of. He's got a huge kind of monster neck because he's got really buff, especially toward the end. The hair here and hair sticking out the other side. And it's kind of adjusting the hair layers. See, this is just, like I said, the under sketch area. He always has his chest sticking out the top. And that's pretty much the under sketch. We have the just vague idea of proportion and where things are going to go. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to grab this and slide it. There's like an ice cream man outside. That's funny. Slide it underneath a regular piece of paper, and now I can see it. But right now I have the proportions to actually, kind of go from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the eye. Just try to pencil it in here. It's a very typical Goku pose. It is a very kind of well-known pose as well. His eyebrows are just kind of solid shapes, essentially. I'm going to put the other eye in here. And his eyes are just black dots. They're just circles. That's weird. There's a lot of noise outside. It's hilarious. Drawing in the triangle shapes of his eyes there. And continuing to kind of move on to his nose. And his nose is, like I said, just a triangle. And it's weird because you see different shape kind of like noses within anime. It is usually like a spiked triangle nose, but some are really tiny, you know what I mean? And some are crazy. Like if you look at I'm not sure if it's Helsing or if it's I forget. I think I remember thinking Vampire Hunter D, I think, had really long noses. I remember Outlaw Star, I think, had really long kind of noses. This had kind of smaller ones. So did like Pokemon had smaller ones. and you know, kind of everything in between. But I always kind of remember that very well, was that there's different styles of anime, really, you know what I mean? Going into the ear. The ear itself is very real. It's very similar to, you know, pretty real. It's not just like super cartoony, it's pretty dang real. Oh yeah, I forgot to draw his smile. You can draw it down here, you can draw it even higher. It depends what you want. You can draw it a little bit higher if you want, if you like. Hairdo. Continuing to trace in the original hair I did. He's got like one group doing this way and one group going that way. Kind of toy around. I would say look at different versions of him and then try to find a balance. He seems to have 4 giant ones going that way and 4 small ones going the other direction. Down to his shirt. Kind of remember the layers that they, you know, kind of go down. It's got that blue layer. I'll go with the color in a second. Or actually, I gotta go with the inking first. So, at this point, I have a good idea of the pencils, you know. I kind of worked a couple of things out. So, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into the ink, and I'm going to be using this Micron Pigma. And I'm going to go kind of over the lines that I went over already, essentially. But this time, I'm going to fill stuff in. When you're kind of going over this, it's you know, not really imperative, but it's a good idea to, again, like fill some of the dark shapes in. But for example, it's a black over black. What do you do with that? I would only just fill this one in, and I'm probably going to fill the hair in with you know, a black colored pencil. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this in colored pencil, and it's going to be very kind of just like basic colored pencil. You know, it's a little bit different because, like I said, the show is colored digitally, so I want to get a similar. I'm not really going to get the same effect, so I'm going to lay out the colors pretty more or less flat, and just kind of try to get an effect from that. For this, I'm going to be using Rose Art brand Red, and let me speed this up to get to the next color, so you don't have to watch me fill in this entire thing. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to kind of vignette the blue out. I'm just going to be using, and by the way, this is just a normal blue in that same Rose Art brand. I'm just going to kind of vignette this outward. I'm not going to draw the rest of the arm here. And then I'm going to go in with a skin tone color, which is I use soft peach for Goku. So I try to color him all the way across and throw some, like, kind of darker values in the bottom, but for the most part he is a kind of a flat tone within this particular drawing. And I'm going to be using this same pencil I used up here in the kind of hair area. And that's just because I don't want to kill a marker right now, and I think it might give it a rich look as well. So I'm going to try that out, and let's do it. Anyways, I left some shine over here by the hair, and that's just kind of for kind of effect. There is kind of some, a little bit more crudeness to this one than I normally do. I think that's because of the way I mixed the color. The color started mixing with the kind of the underlay of the pencil. But overall, it turned out okay, and that's pretty much it for the demo. If you do want to see any part of it, you can go back to it and kind of check out each stage by stage. But this is more just like kind of a colored pencil version. I'm thinking about doing maybe digital ones here. I'm not sure yet. Anyways, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you next time.